Where are you? There he is. Yay.
Welcome in, Eddie. Thank you. How you doing,
Well, thanks
brother?
for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. So, for those who might not know about you, please could you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe where they might find you online?
Yeah, my name's Eddie Garcia. I was a former scholarship at Dupre Dance Academy from way back in the day.
Yeah.
Um, I danced for Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, Jennifer Lopez. I've danced with Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande. I've been really blessed to have a really amazing career and grateful to all my teachers and all the people that really helped make that happen. You can find me at Cuban Ed, which is Cuban underscore Ed on Instagram, or Camp Me Dance. That's bam. That's my
Camp
dance
me Dan.
that I
Oh
run.
yeah. So you still running the camp now?
Yeah, we do it once a year. It's a retreat that I offer for kids between the ages of 11 and 17. We
Yeah.
go up the mountains. I bring up my friends that are various styles in the industry. The kids do dancing, but we also do like outdoor activities. So we go zip lining and rock climbing and stuff like that. So
Such
Beautiful,
cool.
beautiful. Well, the main
Very cool.
question I have for you is: you still got them killer pirouettes? I mean, that's where I
yeah,
really used to watch you when I was a kid in the
totally.
Janet video. You kill them pirouettes.
Come on.
No, it happens. It's a little more strenuous on my back now. I'm a little older now, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, it's still
Well,
there.
well, well,
Ah,
beautiful. Thank you. How do you know? How do you know the ladies?
Well, we worked on Breaking Two Electric Boogaloo together way back in the day, and I
Speaking of
can't say
which,
enough
next
about.
week, Bill, the choreographer, will be joining us. I
Yes,
don't know if it's a secret,
Bill.
but with Steve
Yeah,
Notario and Flame and Boogie, who are also in Electric Boogaloo too.
that's amazing. Yes, and Billy actually taught at my camp this year.
Beautiful,
oh my
beautiful.
God.
Yes,
That's great.
the kids absolutely adore him. They absolutely
Well,
adore him.
well, this
That's
is a free, open discussion, so like
yeah.
it's not really an interview. So like we're just gonna chat. We have a few more guests that are gonna be joining us later, hopefully. So yeah, like guys, dance wise, I mean, or not dance. So what should we talk about?
Well, I have a story I want to tell about Eddie and I back in the day, but you said way back, but this is way, way, way back, Eddie. And I for Joe Tremaine, and we were in the
Mhm.
studio. Both had a scholarship, or I had a scholarship. Did you have a scholarship that year as well?
Not for Tremaine's. I was at Dupre's, but I would go to Tremaine's to take class and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, guys, we were in class, and it was in between us doing our number. And I said, "Hey, Eddie, watch this," and I popped off six in a row. And he goes, "Oh, watch me!" And he did eight in a row, guys, just straight off. Bah,
In your
bah, bah, bah,
face.
bah. I mean, and I had never seen a guy do that. I've seen ballet dancers, women on toe, do that, but I never seen a guy do that. That many. I mean, he could have done more. I mean, but woo. So from then on in that class, I called him Eight Turn Eddie. And so now when I look at him, I'm like, Eight Turn Eddie, and that's probably your street name because it's been so dang long. Yeah, this guy popped off eight in a row like it was nothing, like butter. I love it. So that's my
How
story.
about how about you, Flame? How's your pirouettes? You ready to test Eddie?
Oh, I've done. It depends on the shoes I'm wearing. Yeah, in the disco days, I did like nonstop. It depends on if I had the motor running.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
But
I,
yeah, no,
And
I love. I don't do them like a ballerina. I have both feet straight down. But yeah, I can spin like the best of them.
but you know what really interests me about you four dancers, especially, is the way that there's that crossover between the classical and the jazz, the train dancing with the street dancing. Like me myself, I trained classically at Ballet Rambes school back in the day, and but locking and popping and breaking have been like my main passion. So like the really beautiful thing to have like you, Eddie, and like everyone is to really talk about like the way that's like I guess you were the first like really like professionals that were not only like doing the jazz and the classical and train dancing, but also the streets. So like that's one thing that we might want to talk about if you want.
yeah,
Yeah, I know,
yeah, yeah,
like for me, I remember, being in the dance studio and peeking in, and I would watch Billy's class, and I would be like, wow, that's so cool, because I came from a tap background. That's kind of how I started as a tap dancer. So once they got me into ballet and jazz, to see then some street dancing being incorporated into classes, that was a real big like wake up thing for me. Like I went, ooh, that's where I want to go. And it really helped me once I started moving into working with Michael and Janet, because that we had those crossovers starting to happen. And now you see it all the time. Like you see it everywhere you go. But back then it was really new. Like it was really, you weren't seeing it as much. So I'm really grateful for that time and to be able to see that. And I'm grateful for all the dancers that came through.
It's like you were in the Way You Make Me Feel video, is that right?
Yes.
And like the way that that's so very street, but using almost like classical jazz type technique. So I'm sure a lot of that bled back into the street dance and the further like interpretations of locking and popping and whatnot.
Yeah, it was crazy on the set because they Michael was always about authenticity. So we had actual real gang members on the set. And
Got that?
oh, it was real. It was real. And so there was like there was a Cholo gang, and then there were some Crips, and they didn't talk. Like they didn't speak. So the like Crips didn't talk to me because I was the only Latin dude. But the Cholo gang would totally talk to me. So they started telling me all these stories about them growing up and stuff. And it was really cool to see their guards come down being on a set. And you got to see like the real person and not the the gang
Right.
member that they and I think that's what I really enjoyed about street dancing is it was a way that you could see a guard come down, sometimes that people would, put up, especially like if you came from certain neighborhoods. My parents, I grew up in a interesting neighborhood, when I was younger. And to have that connection, I think was so important because later in my life, it made me so grateful for all of those experiences and all the things because I could always tap back into that.
Orale.
Yeah, yes.
So can we ask NeaNea, are you with us, Mama? Can you hear me?
I can hear you guys now. I don't know if you can hear me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Welcome to the show. Please, for anyone who maybe's not heard of you before, can I ask you to say a little about yourself and maybe where people might find you online?
Well, my name is Naomi, Naomi R. King. I came on the scene. Okay, good to see everybody. I was like, wow, look, Flame, Eddie. Oh my goodness. He was he was a little brother to me anyway, back in the day. He was such a young kid. But
Yeah.
right? That's the first place I met. Oh, okay, let me make sure this is okay. The
Yes,
first
I didn't
place
have this.
yeah, I'm like, okay, I see you got that little hair going on. And the first place that I met just about anybody on here was on the set of Break-In and Electric Boogaloo. I was a dancer that was picked by Billy Goodson, and that was, I don't want to say how many years ago that was, but that was a long time ago. And that was the first time that I got involved with everybody here. And on that set, I made a lot of friends that we stayed friends for life because I guess dance is, it's a universal language. So, and back in those days, everybody stayed, in contact by a regular telephone. We didn't have all these cell phones and video chats like we do now. We had to call each other on the phone or write a letter or something. Yeah, that's how way back it was. And back in those days, we made an arrangement. We call each other up, like even when we're on the set, to go. Remember, we used to go to the Rhythm Lounge, you guys. And that was the Rhythm Lounge. We used to go different places and go hang out, and that's how we got, to bond and stuff. And then on the set, it was like one big family. That was just the fun part of being with everybody here. Good to see everybody.
There's a lot of breaking sites that people talk about and that they're on. I myself am on a couple just to chat with people, but The main one is Breaking Nation, and it's Andy's little baby, and he
Is that
loves
Andy Egan?
all of you. Yeah,
Right.
Andy. And, yeah.
It's
And also,
the
I just
Facebook
thought
group.
that was. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So it's a Facebook group. So it's a Facebook page
group that you can join. It's a private group. You have to go through the little rigmarole, but that's the one to go to. So I'm back. That's the one to go to if you want to go check out stuff, or if you guys want to like add content. Yes, that's it.
What's that you're showing us, Eddie? Okay, that's the
NeaNea,
site. Yeah, cool, man. Thank you. Yeah, please.
That's the site. I wanted to ask NeaNea if she could remember some fun stories about us when we got to the set of Electric Boogaloo, and how we used to just be so ready at 6 in the morning, and then we'd sit around on these benches and sleep for 4 hours before they say, "Okay, you're on camera now. Everybody get in places." So you remember any of those stories? Because I know you do. Okay,
oh yeah. I remember a lot of that. I remember because I was traveling from the IE, which out here is the Inland Empire, and I was in Riverside at the time, or Montclair. The IE, and at that time, so I would have to drive like an hour and a half and get there on set. I'm tired. It's 4 a.m., 5 a.m. And I'm like, I gotta catch a little nap. And I don't know if you guys remember, one of the places I remember going to take a nap, and you guys come out there sometimes. They had scaffolding, remember around the Miracles building? And they had scaffolding on the outside. Man, the scaffolding was my
I said, that's where you were?
Sometimes because Billy would be like, "Where's Naomi? Where's NeaNea?" And it's like, I'm like, I have to I'm coming. And I remember him looking for me and say, like, where you been? I'm like, and I would have my slippers on. This is something I remember always being caught with my slippers on. He's like, "Where's your roos?" We wore these sneakers called, remember kangaroos, you guys?
I had roos. I had purple roos. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had the black or the red. So I don't know which ones I was wearing. And because they messed up on my sizes, so they had like 2 pair. And they had black and red. And sometimes he'll say, "Put the black one on, put the red one on." One time I had both, one of each, one red, one black. And I remember him saying, "Get on, we're gonna practice on set." And I had on my puffy house slippers, you guys. And he's like, "You got on house slippers?" I looked down at my feet, I'm like, yeah. He's like, "Girl, take those house slippers off." And I remember scrambling around and like, "Somebody lend me some sneakers," because we weren't allowed to go back in, because we had that basement area to go. Our dance bags and everything was down there. And he was like, go get them now. Go. We're gonna have to wait for you."
Hey, everybody, second to say something. Listen, Nay, you were the girl who was the stunt double in the revolving room with Boogaloo Shrimp, right?
Yeah, that's called a gimbal. The gimbal room. What happened was,
okay, yeah, right. So that's what you did.
and don't you remember when we all went to go see it together? You guys all started, because it was a hush hush. I had to sign a DNR and all that.
Yeah.
And it was hush hush. There was some things that what was her name? Sabrina?
Maria? Was it Maria?
No. Sabrina was her real name.
Sabrina.
Sabrina. Right.
Yeah.
When Sabrina was doing the I guess they call it the gimbal room that turns around like this. Anyways, when Sabrina was on set, they pasted her hair so flat so that when she went upside down, she looked like she was standing up right side up, because Shrimp was on the ceiling. So it looked so fake. When we watched the premiere, we're sitting in the theater in Hollywood and we're looking at this thing, and her hair would not move. It was like plastic hair. But then when she was a distance, it was Naomi. She was the stunt.
I'm back. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
I don't know how I got lost.
Go ahead.
No worries.
But yeah, I'm just finishing up for you, Nate. When the room went upside down and they took the long shot, it was NeaNea that was in the position. But when it was on the close-ups, it was Sabrina with this flattened out hair, that was so unrealistic. They didn't even give her a wig. They just messed up her hair. And then it looked so fake. And we were in the studio watching this in Hollywood. I think it was at the Pantages where they had it. Somewhere on Hollywood Boulevard. Anyways.
What, you talking about when we all went to go see it?
Yeah, when we went to go see it the first time, we were like dying in some of the
scenes. I remember.
Because we were like, oh my God, that looks so bad. How did that get on film?
Right. Everybody was pinching me or poking me and like that. That's you, NeaNea.
At least your hair didn't look fake, man. You looked good, even though it's from a distance and they're trying to blur your face and shit. But it was you. It was.
Oh
cool.
My God, that was really funny because a lot of people kept saying to me, wasn't that you that did the backspin on the floor on the stage? I'm like, yeah, they filmed it with Sabrina doing it. They filmed it with me doing it. So they would do their little editing tricks and stuff, but it didn't trick my fellow dancers. Everybody was like, no, that's not her. That's Naomi. That's NeaNea.
It is. You can tell by the body shape. You can tell by the you were lankier. You were, more. It was just different. It was just everybody knew. But then when you watch the film, you don't see those things until an insider points it out to you.
That's right, because I remember everybody saying, is that you? Is that you? And I remember I couldn't say anything because, like I told you, I had to sign stuff, and I was like, but they knew. They knew. I would say, I don't know, and they would say to me, you don't have to say it. We already know. We already know. You don't have to say that's you. We know it's you. And I don't remember if the credits had that in there.
You know what? It might have had stunt double. It might have. We'll have to look at the credits again because they have to credit you for being a stunt double.
I mean, I got to pay. I got to pay because
that's all you need. Then who cares?
Yeah, because that was the main thing. I was like,
all the mess.
Well, the stunt coordinator came up to me and him and his assistant. It was two. The main guy and then the female one that put on the harness on me and everything. And she's like, girl, you make sure that they pay you that money because you're going to be attached to the wall going upside down.
How long did it take you? Yeah. How long did it take you to film that section? Was it a day or was it an afternoon? I mean, I don't remember.
No, we had to do that. I got called on the set about 4 days for that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
There was different. Yeah, because what'd you say, Boo?
That's a great pay.
Yeah, and because of the fact that all that kind of work also is SAG-AFTRA, and those of you that know, if you're not completely SAG-AFTRA, they can't use you, so they had to expedite that. That was interesting.
Yeah, you got to pass. Got to get your SAG after that.
Yeah, but they don't tell you. Remember, back in the day, you have to pay a lot of money to get into that.
Yeah,
I'm not ready for that. And then the stunt coordinator said, you have a pass on that because they have to pay that for you since they need you like now. I said, oh, okay. It doesn't have to come out of my pocket. They're like, not right now. No, that comes out of their pocket. Anyway. That was a good thing that came out of it for sure, and because of that, I was able to work, elsewhere.
I did a lot of because I was only like 14 years old, so I'm in.
He was a
there
baby.
were 2 kids. There were 3 kids. Well, they're the little kids, and then there were 2 of us that were considered the jazz kids, and we were like 13, 14 years old. So I kind of tried to hang out with both groups because for me that was. The cool thing is, I would bug Shabadoo and I would bug Shrimp to teach me stuff on breaks. And they like to do it because being a jazz dancer to them and coming and asking them how to do stuff meant a lot to them. Like for them, it was like, this kid really wants to know, he wants to know the real stuff. Like he's not just trying to pretend. And so because I was always taught if you want to learn how to do something, go to the source. So, it's like as many people as I could find on set to teach me things. That's being a kid. I was, I would never get tired. I was always like, okay, 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 so I just remember
Respect.
being, yeah, every corner I'd be trying and practicing new things, because they would teach me little things, and then I'd go practice for a little while. But I'm in the Miracles, that big dance at the end. I think we're all in that huge dance. We're in the day glow, lots of day glow, so much
Yeah,
day glow,
that neon
and then the
stuff.
red
Yes.
and black outfits.
Oh, and the black and red and the neon. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had the red kangaroos. I remember I had the red ones, and they had a pocket. That's why they were called
Oh yeah.
kangaroos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I kept my car key in there.
I had a quarter to buy to use the telephone. I had a quarter in my pocket.
Right, because sometimes we
yeah,
had to use the
You had to
payphone.
use a phone. You had to use a payphone backstage, and you had to keep a quarter on you because they wouldn't let you. We didn't have fanny packs yet. Okay.
yeah.
And my daughter
Yeah,
asked, "What's a payphone?" I'm like, "Oh my god."
oh, I know, right?
I had somebody ask me what's a roll-up window, and I'm like, you roll it up. You go over there, and where were you born? You roll the window. Where'd you think the saying "roll up window" came from? But no, I used to
Yeah.
pick up kids for after school martial arts, and they had no idea, and I didn't have an electric window, so yeah, it's weird.
I remember just like being on that street, and we were up on a hill where the Miracle Center was,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't even think that building's there anymore. I think they tore it down, but
No, they tear it down. It's still there,
is
and
it?
it's actually like a reach out center, a neighborhood reach out
That's
center. Because
cool.
I looked it up,
Yeah.
and I think they do stuff like I said, community reach out stuff, and it's also I think run by what kind of religion I forget, but it's still there. It's all painted white though now, so it looks like a church.
Yeah, and that was like all of that's really super vivid to me. Like I remember just being there and looking at everything. It was the first movie I'd ever done, so I was really just super excited that I got to be like dance in a movie. That was like a really cool thing. Um, it gave me, I think, a lot of confidence moving into videos later. Like I really understood how sets worked. It's like I did a lot of acting when I was younger, but to move into doing music videos, when I started working with Janet, no one knew how old I was. So I never told them, they never asked. So I was actually discovered in a jazz class at Dupre Dance Academy by Paula Abdul.
I remember
And
Dupre.
yeah, after class, Paula walked up with her assistant Carlton and asked me if I would be interested in doing a video. And I remember I called home and asked my parents if that was cool because I was 16 at the time. I She told me it was for Michael's little sister Janet, and she was coming out with an album. And the first video I ever did with Janet was "What Have You Done for Me Lately?" And then she really enjoyed the group. There were four guys that were kind of in that video that she really enjoyed working with. So we got to be in a lot of her videos at the
Did
time. So
you
we
knew
did.
Art too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Art was
Yes.
my buddy. I
Yeah.
knew him for years since actually me and Art went back a long time. And just so I
Yes.
remember Art very. I knew him for a long time, and he was one of the ones that was like center left of her. If you're looking at the screen,
Yes.
remember he's center left
Yes.
of her. I remember being
I
on
also,
set sometimes for that.
the thing about that era, I, there was such a connection between dancers, and there was this openness of information and sharing. It's like I try to explain it to kids nowadays because it's just different with social media being so relevant. How
Mhm.
important it is to make those social connections with the dancers that you work with, so that years down the line you not only have a relationship with them, like they're people that you can reach out to and see and talk to.
That's true.
And I think that's really, really important in succeeding in the industry for a long period of time, is creating those relationships where people like working with you because you're not just a person that shows up and works hard, but you're also someone who's kind and easy to work with.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, working with Janet was cool because I learned so much being around her, and it helped me it really helped me get the Michael job. Like, you know, I know I went to the audition for Smooth Criminal, and I got a call back, and then I had a conflict on the day of the callback. Or no, I had to leave early. And when I went to the callback, Vincent walked up and he was like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "They gave me a callback." And he goes, "No, no, you already have the job." And I was like, "Yes."
Yay.
So yeah. So, and then when I got on the set, the first conversation I ever had with Michael was about the Nasty video. Because he walked in, he's like, "You worked with my sister." And I was like, "Yeah, I did." And he goes, "You did all the turns in the video, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Was that like a camera trick?" And I was like, "No, no, I did it." And he goes, "Yeah, that's what she said." And I was like, "Cool." And that was like our first conversation. I was like, "Whoa, he saw me in the video." Like, it was really, really like, whoa. But I think that exposure of being with her helped me get the job with him, because he knew I had worked with her, and that was something that he had a connection with me because of that. So yeah, I was pretty blessed. I got to work with Michael for about 5.5 years. It was a great time. Again, I got to see the world. I was pretty young. Um, I know I say it a lot, but I'm so grateful to all my teachers, and not only the ones that I took from Matthew Praise, but all of the ones on all the sets. They were always teaching me. I was the young one, so everybody was very protective of me. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And okay. And that's no, but it helped guide me, you know. And I think that's really important for young people, is to know that when you're working with artists and when you're working on movie sets, and at the end of the day, it's still a job. You know, they can be your friends and you can be friendly with them, but it's still a job and they're still your boss. And if you treat it with the respect that it deserves, you'll have a really long career.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of which that job and respect, I have to give some respect to my locking and popping teacher, Patrick Allen, who was one of the
Yes.
So yeah, I would not be a dancer today if it wasn't for Patrick. You know, so like, big up yourself, Pat.
Right. We got to get Pat on here as well. Of Cat Glover, because they were very tight, and yeah, that's
he has wonderful stories about her.
Yeah.
I have to say that whole era, everybody had a mentor. You know, people mentored people and didn't even know what the word mentor was.
Right.
You know, when I came into LA, my mentor was being around the people that I saw on television when I moved to LA. And then I met Toni Basil, who was like beyond the stratosphere because of her fame and Mickey and stuff. But and then being on the television show with the Lockers and being one of the Lockers, she started doing judging contests back in the day in 1980, 1979, 1978. So meeting her and then finding out that she was one of the first people that would take street dancers in and give us lessons for free. She would hold them at a studio. She would rent it herself, and she would handpick the people that she had thought had some talent or that could actually gain better reputation from doing these things. She took me under her wing. She taught me. I mean, I took ballet and tap and jazz for like 6 months in my whole life. It was like a crash course, and I got it because I was teaching disco. You know, teach disco. We'll give you all this. You can come every day. So by the time I went to LA, I'm still a street dancer. And she took us in, and you're looking in the class that's on the bar doing ballet is Camelot Jr., you know, Skeet. Shab never came. He never came to any of us. I don't know why. I guess he didn't dig ballet, but we were doing ballet, proper ballet. And then she'd say, now improv. And so you'd start whacking and you'd start doing grand jetés, and then you do, you know, shanae, and then you just start whacking again and then locking. And it was just freestyle. And she would mix it. She was a mentor. She took everybody under her wing for nothing. She wouldn't charge anything. Yeah, she was great.
You guys are breaking it, but I had a question in regard to that for Eddie. Do you remember, Eddie, when you were like real young? When you started locking, Eddie, and who influenced you to work on that craft, on the locking?
So it started in Billy Goodson's class, and it started because I got placed in there. I was on a scholarship program, and so you would basically every few months you would graduate up to a level. So I was going from a jazz
Mm-hmm.
2 to a jazz 3, and I remember taking his class, and after class he called me over and he goes, "You need to get funky." And I went, "Oh," and he goes, "Yes, you need to work on that. You know, if you don't get funky, you won't be able to take my class." And I was like, "Oh." So I remember that week there was one girl, her name was Debbie, and she was on scholarship with me, and she was the funky girl of our group. And I said, "Hey Debbie, I need to get funky or else they're not gonna allow me to take Billy's class." And she worked with me all week on his across the floor. And it didn't happen overnight, but he saw the effort, and because I think of that, he really started to invest in myself, you know, like in being in class. And every week I would just work hard and I would watch, because I was taught always watch the people that are the best at what you're trying to do, and then just copy that
Yeah, mimic them.
and mimic them, and you're going to start to develop a style through that. And so I mean, that was basically it. It's just being in Billy's class all the time, and then being on the set of Electric Boogaloo, you know, and being
Right.
around those people. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
Taco and I toured together. So like being around Taco on tour, you know, a lot of my
Right.
improv on stage, you know, Michael would start to pop, and I was like, well, I can sort of do that. I did more waving. That was more my style. So I would like go with the waving, but
Yeah.
pop, and, you know, Taco would give me advice. He would tell me, "Hey, do this, do that." All right, cool. And I think being allowed to become part of that group was really cool to me. Again, I, I think being open at my age, being so open to styles and things, because to me, dance was dance. Once I
Correct.
learned that all dancing, you just have to learn it. You just have to put yourself in the situation and learn it. And it helped me forever, like for everything. Never be afraid of it, even if it's tough. You know, you just got to go home and practice. To this day, I've been on sets, you know, and some of these kids dance really, 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 really fast now,
Oh
like
yeah.
so fast.
Yeah.
And I'll learn
Yeah.
choreography, and I'm like, woo, one yanda. What is a one yanda? I was like, and so learning the choreography, I'll go home, and a lot of times on videotape stuff, I'll go home and then I'll practice for 2 hours, and then I'll come back and I'll know it,
Yeah.
because I
You have.
also think you're always a student. You know, there's always things to learn.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
That's
want
always
to
a student. You
yeah.
a funny story one real quick. In the Rockers, I was the only trained dancer, so I would always be on the guys' butts going, "You guys need to go take a jazz class or maybe take a ballet class because you know your posture." And they would look at me like I was crazy. And then as soon as they started working with Janet Jackson, they're like,
I see
"Yeah,
what you
Boo, you
mean.
were kind of right," because they hustle and try to blend the locking moves into what she was doing. And so they were like, "Yeah, she was right," but that was a very rare moment for them to say, "Oh yeah, you were right." But
I was
it's a
laughing.
foundation, and it helps you to count in street dancing. If you notice, Eddie, when you go out there and you're a jazz dancer and technically trained, when you go out there and you start teaching, you break it down into eights, or you know, you break it down into fours, you break it down, and then you can make sense of the street dancing, and then you know how to blend it. But it has a lot to do with count and blending. That's very, very
Yeah,
important. And
I think,
I was just,
and the
yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The
Please.
street dancers to me had a lot of the they had a lot of fire, a lot of soul, and a lot of inner stories that they
mm,
were always telling through what they were doing. That was different
yeah,
than the in the studio. Everybody was always, you know, trying to get the technique, and so having
yeah,
that other side added a lot of weight to things I was doing at a young age. I had a lot
yeah.
more. I feel like I could bring a lot more fire because I was more grounded when it came to things like that,
Right.
because they would tell me stories, they would give me history, they would tell me about where things came from, so that I
Yeah,
understood not only the move but where the move developed and who it came from. And I think
yeah,
I still to this day I try to teach the kids that I teach, I'm like, don't get stuck in a style because styles change. You know, open yourself
Right.
up to anything, especially the things that you don't feel comfortable doing, because those are the
Drastically.
things that are going to make you better.
I
Oh
want
yeah.
to go to Eddie's camp, guys. We should all go. Woo!
Hey.
Woo!
I
Woo!
want to interject something about
Yes.
what when Eddie was saying how you find somebody that you want to emulate, or that you go to the person that does it the best, and then you want to emulate them. When you're a street dancer, the whole thinking is totally different. If you emulate somebody, you're biting off them, and if you can't invent your own shit and make it better than their shit, then you ain't nobody. So you can
That's right.
study people, but you have to take it back with you and make it your own. And if you can't do that, you're not respected. That's just
That's
the
true.
mentality.
That
That's
is true.
true.
No, that was
You
totally
can go
true.
out there
Yeah,
and say, "You're biting me, man." It's not the
Exactly.
very greatest flattery to be imitated when you're a street
Oh
dancer.
yeah.
It's almost
I
like
can elaborate on that, Flame,
go for
because
it.
remember, I'm a New Yorican. In New York, when it came out,
Mhm.
when breaking came out, I was in the parks, in the streets, getting yelled at. My mom,
Mhm.
and she didn't want me in the parks with African Bambaataa, Melly Mel,
Mhm.
everybody that were having these parties in the park where breaking first came out.
Mhm.
We were in the parks. I remember what backstory to that. When you say dances related, so true. Because I remember being about 5, 6 years old, and my auntie and uncle went to go pick up somebody's kid at one of the dance studios on Broadway, and it reminded me of chorus lines. One of the lyrics is "Up the steep and narrow stairway." Do you remember that
Mhm.
hmm
song? Well, I forget the name of that song, but that was exactly what we did to go to this dance studio to pick up um, our friend's child.
I can
That's
picture
when
it.
I said I want to dance, because I went and the door opened up after we got up the steep and narrow staircase to the ballet room, to the tap, jazz, and I seen all that going on. And me growing up in New York with dancing in the streets, literally every song that came out with "We were dancing in the streets,"
Mhm.
that was us in New York, and doing everything from salsa to every dance I can think of since I was a little kid.
Mhm.
But when I saw that, I saw all types of dance incorporated,
Mhm.
because I seen kids that I knew that were dancing in there. And I said, well, I could do that too. And I want to do that. And so I got bit pretty young by the bug. And, and I think I wanted to wear the tutus, the little, I think, because I saw pink, my favorite color. And I saw that on that little girl. I'm like, can I have one of those? And they're like, well, you have to be in the class. And one of them get me in the class. I want to wear one of those. And so from then on, everything I learned in the street, I incorporated with street dance. What I
Mhm.
learned in the class, I'm sorry, yeah, I incorporated with the street dance. So that's why I had my own style. And
Exactly.
saw me, um, when Billy saw me, he told me, I'm doing this street movie, breaking. I want you to come to the audition. And I was like, oh, okay. So he picked me up out of a crowd too. And he
Mhm.
said, yeah, you've got a little, you're different.
Something, something. You got a little
Yeah,
something, something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And because you do the technical stuff, you can pick up choreography, and then you got your own little funky fierceness over there. He said, you a little bit funky fierce.
Mhm.
And that's when I knew, okay, I'm gonna stick with this. I got to. It was in the blood. I got to, because, like I said, dancing in the streets in New York. Oh, what you were saying was biting was, yes, a big no-no. When you're in the street dance scene and they put out that linoleum in the parks in New York,
hmm
that's where you went and you showed your new creative moves.
Mhm.
And you took up somebody's head, you swallowed it, but whatever you did, that was battling, because I would battle in the streets and they go, how could you do that when all the boys are there? I'd be the only girl battling. And they're
Mhm.
like, why are you doing that? You're looking, how they say, tomboyish. I said, what's tomboyish about dancing and showing art? And so, if I can, dance real hard on somebody,
Be fierce.
and when I dance real hard on somebody, they get mad and then I'll do a pirouette and get away from them, and they're like, wait, how'd you mix those two? You dance real hard and then you pirouette away, or you PK away. PK away.
Whatever
And,
works. Yeah.
Yeah, and they would say, they're like, what is this? What is this? And I think, like I said, that all intertwined. And going back to Flame's story, Tony Basil also, it was me, Taco, Shrimp. We all went to her house because she wanted to record us.
Mm-hmm.
You remember she had a ballet bar in her room?
Mm-hmm.
She had a ballet bar in her room, and she said, Nay, I need you to do that thing you did. I'm like, you gotta remind me what thing I did. The thing you did, and you threw yourself back on the floor, and then you came back up, and I'm like, Lord, because she would record everything, and I'd have to see it, because when you're being creative, you're doing it right on the spot. Sometimes you don't remember. You gotta record yourself, and then she'd like, do that again, and then we had to do things over and over because Tony was a I want to say perfectionist. And she also was Tony Basil. She was a perfectionist.
Yes.
Tony Basil. Hey, Mickey. Yes. But she recorded us doing some stuff, and Taco. We were like brother and sister. Anyway. I remember him saying, "Let's do this. Let's do that." And we did some funny stuff together, and she was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And, passing off the wave to one another and see who could get more creative with it, bring it through your body and everything. Taco was really good at that. So was Shrimp. So it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And so when you got that connectivity out of stage, and then when you bring it on stage and it connects, then you knew you had something special. You knew you had something special. And I remember Eddie. Do you remember this? We were one time downstairs. We were getting massages. Remember they would bring masseuses to the set, and we would get massage, get a kink out.
Massage.
Huh?
Girl, I never got a massage. That was for Anna and them in the trailers.
No, sweetie, no. Downstairs.
She probably thought you was Anna,
No, she did not. No, she knew who I was because we had a date every day at a certain time. I'm going to be there and you're going to give me my massage.
That's because you're a stunt girl. You were getting paid more. We didn't get no massages.
No, but I remember, listen. I remember the masseuse saying, now you're making me feel bad. I thought everybody got those massages.
I never got a massage.
Eddie, did you get massaged?
Oh, white lady.
I don't remember. Yeah. I remember the downstairs though. I remember
Okay.
I remember the car wash outside, like when they were doing the car wash scene.
Yeah.
But I remember the little girl.
Wait, I'm gonna.
She said, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna remind you about something you did, and I was in on it. We did a little betting about how many pirouettes you can do in a row. Do you remember that?
No, but I did. I used to do that a lot, actually, as a kid.
Yes, I remember because
it's an easy way to make some money.
Right. NeaNea made money because somebody was betting me that you couldn't do more than 8, and I already know one time I counted you doing 11, and I remember that because I was like, look at this little boy doing this so bad. I said, let me get some suckers in here. So I got I got some of them to say he's not gonna last more than like 6, 7, 8. I said, I bet he could do 10. Boy, when you came out and did 10, no, it was 11. I was like, pay up. I like, Eddie did it. But I remember that being downstairs, and I hopped off the masseuse table just so I can do that. When I saw that, he was practicing in the corner, I
No,
said,
I
every
remember
I
his
was always,
beginning and
that's
shit,
what I
but
always
I don't remember the
practicing.
masseuse. I'm still hooked up on the masseuse.
I'm sorry.
Massage, man. I needed it
I
too,
will
man.
give you
I
a
was
massage,
old.
Flame. Don't worry.
I was like the oldest young kid there. Everybody was
Um,
like 19 and 20, and I'm 27, and I'm like, oh, my back is no.
I had my
Seriously.
21st birthday on the set, baby.
See, and Boogie, how old were you? 19?
19.
Shit.
Wow.
And I was trying to play a high school kid, and I was like 27. I mean,
Well, Boogie thought I was younger than her. Remember Boogie?
Oh,
Boogie
we
thought
can't
I
hear
was
you,
younger than
Boogie.
her. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Boogie thought I was
So-
younger than her, and I said, I got a couple of years on you, baby.
Girls like to talk about their age, Flexy. Just shush.
But yes, when Breaking came out, I was about 4, and you know, I.
Now I really feel old.
But
He got some time on. He had some time to grow up.
That's okay. I have a story.
I'll get there one day.
If you guys want to hear it, I have a
Tell
story.
me, please.
About what?
Eddie, it was the same time that everybody was doing these choreography for Michael Jackson. I was doing right after the movie. I didn't do a lot of videos. I did one video by Penny Ford called "Change Your Wicked Ways." You can look it up, and it had Stoney Jackson, Todd Bridges, all the people.
I remember Stoney.
Yeah, it was a great video, but I went right to Vegas to do cabaret shows. Is that Bruno used to come, Papa Taco used to come to Vegas to see me because we were friends, because sometimes he was at Tony's too much and he needed to stay at my place with me and my ex-husband at the time because he needed to get away from Tony's strictness sometimes. She was a taskmaster. She liked to have him rehearse a lot and be really make better. He just wanted to mess around. So he'd come over and stay with me and my husband at the time. And I moved back to Vegas, and my husband still had the place in Los Angeles, but Bruno would come and visit me, and he says, I'm at the Mirage. I want you to come up to my room, and we can just hang out. So I go up to the room at the Mirage. He comes to Vegas, and I'm here, and it's around the time that they're doing some video for Michael Jackson. So I'm in the room, and we're getting he's popping less than me. He's standing behind me, and he's making my hands pop, and he's making me, jerk and freeze. And he's holding my hand. He says, no, more isolation, and then we're just laughing. And he goes, then the phone rings. And he goes, I got to get this. And I go, okay. So he picks up the phone. It's like 3:00 in the morning, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Okay. And then he hangs up. He goes, we got to be quiet. And I go, what? We're in a hotel room. Who's quiet? I'm not quiet. Anyways, we're having fun. He goes, it's Michael. And he says he can't sleep. So you need to be quiet. I said, Michael's next door? And he goes, yeah, we traveled together. I'm with Michael. I go, can I see him? And he's like, no, Flame. No. I'm like, I never met Michael. I was on the peripheral of everybody that worked with him, but I never met him. The thing is, it was so funny because he was right there, right in the next room. And I woke him up. I'm that loud. And he was probably in that chamber thing, probably traveled with that chamber thing. And I still woke his ass up. So not a good thing. So I just thought I'd share that. But Bruno was a really good mentor to me.
Bruno was sweetheart.
So, he would share with anybody who wanted to learn. He was really a purist about isolation and popping and hitting marks without moving. We used to think that if your hair moved after you stopped your freeze, if your hair kept moving, that was the best stop that you could do when you're popping. If your hair started popping, oh gosh, yeah. Because we used to wear our hair up. I remember Bruno used to use Tony's inversion table and hairspray and a hairdryer and blow his hair upside down in the inversion table to get it to pompadour, So if you could pop and your hair would pop too, that was the tops. So
that's one of the things that he used to compliment me on. He goes, yeah, do it just like that. And he'd like grab my hair and he goes, stay like that, Naomi, stay like that. Okay, now do it. Now do it. Yeah, and he'd be like, gotta hit it and make your hair just wiggle.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, it's gonna wiggle.
Yep.
I remember the first time I met Taco was in Germany, and I swear he could pop his face with his face is incredible.
Never heard that one before.
I remember being on the set of Smooth Criminal, and in between takes, I would always look over at Taco, and he would find some way to pop and wave into like weird, like there was a trap door that he was like waving and climbing through it. I was like, what are you doing? But it was so like he was always artistically trying to find ways to connect what he was doing to the atmosphere and the people around him, which is why he was so good at what he did.
Yeah, he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
He
it's
that's
popped
like
to
I sat
anything.
in awe.
Yeah. He popped to a show at the Palace in Hollywood, which we did Halloween shows, big Halloween fair shows,
yeah.
and
I
I
was in
hired
some of
him.
those.
You was in Wild Women of Wongo, you know, that
Oh,
tube
oh
song,
my God.
Wild Women of Wongo girl. But I hired him one season to be the fly in Flight of the Bumblebees. He was actually a bumblebee, but the guy that made his
I remember that.
yeah, back in the day, it was really hard to make things light up. So they were very heavy. And the guy made his headdress with the two big eyeballs out of a motorcycle helmet. And it was heavy as shit. So he didn't complain ever, but he would be popping, you know, with this big fly head on to fly to the bumblebees. And he'd be popping. And the thing is, he had the cord, and there was a guy in black following him with the cord that went to the helmet. There was no batteries. It was just crazy, but he never complained, and he could dance popping to anything. Any song you put on, he could do it. He could do it to Girl from Ipanema. I mean, he could do it to anybody, you know? So that's a talent. He took it to the utmost degree. So,
Yeah,
Oh,
and
God rest,
I,
God rest his soul.
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
important too because
Got you.
I know generationally, I always try to like because I don't know how many young people might tune in. It's really important for them to learn about their history, learn about the people that came before that kind of set up all the stuff that you see now.
Mhm.
It's so important for them to know their legacies and what they're leaving, what they left behind for us to have now. Because a lot of kids live in the immediacy of what's going on in the moment, and so if they make themselves knowledgeable about the things that came before, it'll just make them better at what they're doing now.
So true. Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful. When I first came into the dance, there was such a division between the classical and the street. That that it was the ballet and the organized dance was up there, and the street dances it wasn't really. But now it would seem that all of the kids, like everyone's like it's bleeding into each other, and you guys are largely responsible for that. So thank you.
What's so funny is the technical term for some of the grouping of all dancing, like popping, locking, ticking, whacking, punking, freestyle. All of that is lumped together as street dance. But the thing is, the only reason why it's called street dance is because we literally did it on the street corner. We literally did it at the park. We went to, like, I would go to Golden Gate Park on roller skates, and we'd be doing it on roller skates, in San Francisco. This is
I was in Central Park doing that in New York, Central Park.
And I didn't have that because I was on the other coast. But, that's
Yeah.
why I respected you when I first met you. I said, you went the same route, but you were on that coast. And, that distinction between West Coast, East Coast, there was something that each of them gave. There was a group of very few, but there was an influence of New York in the Electric Boogaloo movie. There was Wiz Rock was there. Freeze was not on set, but he was in town, and
Right.
he was influenced. But for some reason, I don't remember why he wasn't on set. But as far as like the New Yorkers, they came in, they broke, and then nobody really talks about that because then they went back to New York, and then we never saw them again.
Oh,
But
we did Beach
June
Street.
huh?
So
What?
then we went and did Beach Street.
Mhm.
We went
Exactly.
and did breaking, and then we went and did Beach Street.
So you were in Beach Street, NeaNea?
Yeah, I was one of the dancers. I wasn't a principal dancer, but I was one of the dancers. They wanted to get a lot of authenticity and diversity, so they included me. We actually did the club scene in Los Angeles.
I
don't know if
remember
I
anybody.
didn't know that.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Was-
one of the club
was
scenes
Wiz
in Los
Rock in
Angeles.
Was
Huh?
Wiz Rock in Beat Street? Was Wiz
Yeah,
Rock in Beat
yeah. All the big I call them up rock, the different types of up rock guys.
Mhm.
They were in they were in the New York, I say the New York version of Electric Boogaloo was Beach Street. So they were in that one. a lot of street groups. They were in it. A lot of them.
Crews.
A lot of crews. Thank you. A lot of
Yes.
yeah. I can't remember all the names and everything, but when I saw them, I was like, oh, cool. You know, everybody here that
It was
from the streets of New York.
Rocksteady.
Yeah,
Rocksteady
thank
crew
you.
Rocksteady
Rocksteady
crew.
crew.
Yeah.
All
with
yes,
Crazy Legs and
yes. That was my
And New York
boy.
City Breakers.
New
yeah.
York City
New York City
Breakers.
Breakers.
I think I say Wiz Rock because he was on set in Electric Boogaloo, and I remember because Crazy Legs and I can't think of the other guy's name. They stayed at my place when I was in Hollywood because they came in. Freeze knew me, and they stayed at my house to like sleep over, you know, and just crash. But Wiz Rock wasn't getting the respect that he felt from New York, and he came to L.A. He was the first. This is what he says, and I believe him to be true. He was the first break dancer that did flying windmills, where you just flip and flip and flip. You know,
And I know the windmills.
we were just doing windmills. You know,
I'm gonna have to disagree with that one.
But
Only
that's
because
what he came and that's what
it's only because breaking. You know, that started in the Bronx.
Exactly.
And then it went to Manhattan, and then it went to Brooklyn. When a lot of battles was going on, a lot of people would go from the Bronx is uptown, Brooklyn is downtown, and Manhattan's in the center. So everybody would come, and they'll hear about, let's just say, Melly Mel, African Bambaataa. I mean, the Zulu Nation would go down into the parks, set up the big old tall, gigantic speakers. They lay out their linoleum, and it was battle time. And I was forbidden to go to those because sometimes afterwards, just like any place else, sometimes you get heated groups that didn't like the fact that they got, you know, shown up.
Dissed
and then,
they got dissed.
They want to fight, you know, and so that happened one time really badly. And that was the first time I had a scramble because there was gunfire in the back. And my older cousin, took me, and she knew that. She said, your mother's going to kill me. My aunt's going to kill me. And we got out of the park. We got on the train, got the subway, went back uptown. But I remember it was because of all the different styles. And I remember windmills at that battle, big battle. And I remember that battle the best, the most, and the longest, because like I said, I had never been at a battle where they got that heated, that mad, that they started pop, pop, pop in the back and that. And everybody was out of there. And but I saw windmills before Wiz Rock. You know,
not windmills. I'm saying flying windmills without your hands.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. No,
really?
Yes.
Okay, well then he represented badly when he came to LA, but he didn't stay long because
it's okay because I'm saying a lot of people brought their different styles from the different areas, and a lot of them didn't get the credit for it because they saw it from somewhere else, you know, and they don't realize that. Yeah, you must have saw it at the park, and then you brought it over there,
right?
You know, you saw it, and you were the first one to bring it to maybe a big, massive crowd, but I saw it at the little crowds, and you weren't the one. You didn't do it first.
You see, LA never saw those. LA never saw those.
Right.
Yeah, that was new.
Right.
You guys remember Vic?
Huh?
You guys remember Vic? He had a flat head. His head was literally flat.
Was he doing?
Head spins.
Yeah.
That must help.
Dude could eternally. He could just keep going. He was bad. I never seen like him. Vic. Yep, they call him Vic, like a big lighter.
I remember. And Taz, nobody's ever matched since Taz. I haven't seen it since Taz did it. It was that knee.
Taz.
The knee.
Taz.
Remember Taz would do this.
That was just so unique to him. He would put his feet and he would do a knee drop, and then
You remember Patrick? Patrick used to do it too, though.
He taught me how to do it because I remember like
he would go up on his toes on his Converse,
and,
you know,
yes.
and he would roll on his toes, and then he roll on his toes, and it would go in a circle, but it would be
circle. Yeah.
Taz and Patrick used to battle on that one.
Yeah, that
and we
was,
called that the Tasmanian
remember
Devil
Handy,
because he
right?
went in a circle like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
nobody's
remember.
No.
done that. And
Hey, you guys
that's
remember Handyman?
since then, huh?
So Stu, Handyman had no legs. Stu,
Oh,
I want to tell
the
you
guy,
this.
the guy on
Handyman legs,
crutches
but
in the movie.
when he did windmills, it
Leaving behind a legacy
a helicopter,
that resonates
like he was
deeply
getting ready
within
to
the realm
fly.
of youth.
And
Sometimes.
he was so good
Death was shared
for me
on
for
her
the
official
president.
Facebook page.
Remember
For a
Handyman?
brief
He was the cat on crutches in the movie, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like,
Especially like we saw in the Paris Olympics recently, the way of I don't know what the term is anymore. Do we say disabled? It changes. But the
Handy capable is the political term.
but yeah, the amount of breakers that like say one leg or whatnot, and they can really, you know, I mean, they can hold with able-bodied dancers. I mean, that's a really incredible thing about breaking is it's you know it's MMA.
Yeah.
they did, and I was talking to, I think it was Crazy Legs about this, because he was paralyzed from his waist down, and so when you can't feel what they're doing, you don't mind them flying around and doing their own thing, because
They were like a counterweight. They were like a counterweight.
Exactly. They helped with those maneuvers. It helped.
Yeah.
Eddie, you mentioned the camp. What anything else happening? Anything coming up?
Actually, there's an MJ convention coming into town next weekend.
Where are you at?
Some kids that I teach are going to be performing at it. It's kind of like one of
Eddie, where are you located?
I'm in, the little city of Laverne, since you're from Montclair. Yeah, you do. That's right.
Laverne. Oh my goodness.
What?
So are you in that area now?
Yes.
Oh, we gotta hook up, have lunch.
Can you guys hear me up?
Yes.
Boogie. We're gonna all have to have lunch together.
When you come to Vegas.
Okay, everybody's going on. I love you guys. Going off on my phone keeps blinking off and it keeps cutting out. So I love you guys so much.
Love you.
Thank
you.
Shout
out to Stu for doing this. Thank you.
Oh no, thank you all so much. But definitely, I want to say that Boogie and I are planning next year for a LA City Rockers reunion in LA.
Wow.
So like we're gonna. So we have to talk more about that. But definitely, this is a weekly show. As we said, next week we have the legend Bill and Steve Notario coming on. Flame and Boogie will be back. NeaNea and Eddie, thank you so much. Like we would love to invite you back sometime. Like definitely, let's keep this conversation going. And
definitely.
Great to see you, NeaNea.
Good to see you.
This has been so great. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Eddie.
Goodbye, guys. Much love.